all security mechanism built around cryptographic technique mostly. Now today's first slide is talks about what is threat and what is attack. There is another terminology which is mentioned several occasions, will come across later on, vulnerabilities. Here I am not mentioned vulnerability, or the slide is not mentioned vulnerability. It talks about threat and attacks. Please remember the request for comments, this RFC 4949. If you go through it, it is very important RFC. Everyone should scan once. Threat, a potential for violation of security, which exists when there is circumstances, capability, action, or even that could breach security and cause harm. That is, a threat is a possible danger, might exploit a vulnerability. So use vulnerability word is will come across later on. We'll discuss that in details. Vulnerability is basically loopholes in the systems, and using the loopholes, in short, loopholes in the systems, security loopholes mainly in the systems, someone can create possible option for threat. So someone can assess that what kind of attacks or what kind of things can happen. So attack actually use these threats or vulnerability and do nuisance, sometime damage, depends on high risk, low risk, and moderate risk. So basically, you can say that an assault on system security derives from an intelligent threat. Obviously, this intelligent act is deliberate attempt to avoid the policy violations or security services to get into the system specifically first, and or get some credential and everything. If you look into the security attacks, which is the top of the slides, we looked into security attack, security mechanism, security services. Security attacks are two types. One is the passive attack, another is the active attack. We'll see this in details. Passive attacks is basically, oh, wait, something happened. Let me start again. Microsoft error. Wait a minute. Why crashed? Wait a minute, because something happened in my machine. It is opening. Wait. So in passive attack, which is we have seen earlier, is that it is someone is just watching or recording, eavesdropping, whatever communication or whatever actions are taking place. That information it is only recording. What is the purpose? The purpose is goal of the opponent or the attacker. So we have three parties, the first party communicating to the second party, or first party, second party communicating each other. The third party, which is attacker, watching actions. From that, the goal of the attacker or hacker or observer, passive attacks, to obtain, goal of the opponent is to obtain information that is transmitted or actions are happening. What is the purpose? To release the message content or traffic analysis. We'll discuss traffic analysis in details. For example, if you are sending your information in encrypted way using HTTPS, then no one can, or any such techniques, when you are sending this, the information content may not be guess or may not be interpreted. That is fine. If I not interpret is also fine, but I can do profiling. So every application in computer systems has own characteristics. Here assumption is that every applications create a series of packet sequence or message and their interval, their size, and their all communications. You can build a profile. And if you can build a profile, you can guess which application is running. And from there, we can guess a lot of things. So basically what is talking about traffic analysis. I can look into the traffic and try to analyze as much as possible and try to interpret. There are other issues. Eavesdropping can get information and keep it due to some requirement. You or the first party and second party can, basically first party and second party can disclose some of the documents openly, and using that the message can be, earlier message can be interpreted or earlier key used can be derived. So this is the philosophy for us. Again it is crashing. Something going wrong. Okay, you have any questions? You can talk this time. Let me correct it this first. Today it is crashing, I don't know. So if you have any questions or anything, please continue. Now coming to active attacks. Active attack involves some, what is this? This active attacker or third party can modify the data. So data stream, the creation of the false stream, or it can create a false stream, or you can say create, forge the document, masquerade, or please remember, passive attack is not detectable. Active attack is detectable, but passive attack may not create problem during communications, whereas active attack can create havoc during communications. But it is difficult sometimes to prevent such active attack because of vulnerability in the hardware, software, or network protocols. The goal is to detect attack and to recover from any disruption or delay caused by them. Why delay? Sometimes delay delivery of the packet is dangerous. So third party can get the packet, not allowed to reach the destination within the time, and so it may create problem. Now active attacks, here only 4 types is mentioned here: masquerade or spoofing. Masquerade or spoofing, there is replay, so you just keep the message and same message without changing. You can just send it again, and both the directions will see that message can be modified, say portion, or denial of service, that is some of the messages we can drop, or most of the messages can be dropped. So denial of service can come in picture. Now if you look into the security services, there are 2 standards: X.800. Obviously, as I mentioned in the last class, we are pitched up between 2 standards. One standard are European mainly, the other standard is, as I mentioned, other standard is what I should mention, other standard is the American standard. So X.800 is European standard, whereas RFC is obviously American. If you go through these 2 standards, you can find it a service provided by protocol or communication open systems that ensure adequate security of the system for data center. And similar kind of things is mentioned in the RFC 49. Now, if you look into the security services 8.00, you will find there is authentication, access control, data confidentiality, data integrity, and non-repudiations. Authentication, if you look into the authentication, then let us go one by one. Authentication is concerned with the assuring that a communication is authentic. That means individual message going from first party to the second party should verify authenticity of the message. And if authenticity of message or single message, then it is called data origin authentication. That is, the person who claimed the data is originated from the first party, no one else. Other scenario is the agent, the object, the API, or the persons working is a genuine or not. That is peer entity authentications. For peer entity authentication, we require authentication protocol. Only one message will not come into picture. Series of messages you have to transact to identify the 2 parties are genuine, first party and second parties are genuine. Access control is another important things which limit and control the access to host an application via communication links. Why we are using emphasis on communication? Because today's scenario, servers are usually in cloud. So this year, this course, cloud security is one of the most emphasis, because access control is a very, very important requirement, and access control can be everywhere. And you know already, if you look into the database, there is access control mechanism exist. If you look into the authentication network, access control exists to access our IITG network. Similarly, writing anything to the file or reading from the file, access control also system built in the systems. So it is one important thing, first authentication, then access control. We'll see in details. Data confidentiality already I have mentioned. I am skipping. It's basically things. Data integrity can apply a stream of messages, a single message, or selected field within the message. That is, if you go back, if you go to this table, data confidentiality is connection confidentiality, connectionless confidentiality, selective feed confidentiality, traffic flow confidentiality. These are the four. Connection confidentiality means you establish a connection, every messages on that connection sequentially will go one by one, and it remembers all communications and state of the connections. Connectionless, just send one message with secrecy, not sequence to be maintained. Selective field confidentiality is another important thing, because all field, if we try to encrypt, the communication over it, processing over it, not communication over it, the processing over it will be very high. So some portion we can send without any encryption. Traffic flow confidentiality, already I have mentioned, traffic flow is one of the important requirement, and that traffic flow confidentiality is necessary. So if you look into the WireGuard or VPN services, if you go to the fake TCP, WireGuard, or any VPN services, you will find it, virtual private network services, you will find it, the camouflage, this messages padded with some extra fields in extra data, so that profiling of the communication cannot be done by the firewall or whatever toolkits or the things at UTM used by any systems. So it bypass that, no one can profile it, the padding is required. Sometimes they do fake TCP. What is fake TCP? Fake TCP is not at all a TCP. Actually UDP create TCP like environment so that it will assume as TCP, and our IIT Guwahati this firewall can assume as TCP, because IIT Guwahati firewall allow only TCP. So if you want to send UDP, you have to use fake TCP, so that the firewall can feel it is TCP, actually UDP. So basically you have to remember that mimicking is a very important requirement. And sometimes mimicking as someone is better than identifying self. Non-repetition is basically prevent either sender or receiver from denying transmitted message. So basically, sender can claim that receiver has received it. Similarly, the receiver can claim sender has sent it once message transmission and receive complete. So non-repetitions, there are two. One is called sender non-repetitions, and another is called, yes, yes. Okay, so sender side is called sender non-repetitions. So you can devise a scheme for sender non-repetitions, whereas it's not that easy for the receiver side. Availability of service, I have mentioned it. I don't want to look into these details. So you come to security mechanism. Security mechanism, if you go by X.800, The specific security mechanism, which will put little more emphasis in this course because techniques to be developed, which is encipherment, the secrecy, digital signature, the authenticity, access control, that is very important because accessing data integrity sometimes built in digital signature depends on implementations. So data integrity, authentication exchange, that is very important, traffic padding, routing control, notarizations. Similarly, if you look into the passive security mechanism, trusted functionality, this is one very important one because whole world is running on trust. So can one mobile agent or the peer entity or API is trustable? If trust, how dynamically trust can be changed, that functionality. Security levels, now there are similar to the trust functionality, there is also security levels. Event detection is very important in information security. Sometimes it's called incidental responses or incidents. Incidents means series of activities happen, and those activities, some of the activities are anomalous or wrong. Detecting such is event detections. Event detection terminology used in social network also and different times. Here security point of view. Security audit trails, it is very important because the audit, there are logs in the systems. Similarly, security logs will be there. Log files assessing is one of the, and checking everything is going correct or not, that is another very important. And obviously, how to recover. Please remember, recovering a system is much difficult compared to regenerating a system. So whenever a system is compromised, better to regenerate. Regenerate means fully reformat properly, hardware level reformat, then reinstall the systems, not soft configuration. The same thing, it is written here. I don't want to go in details. You can read it later on. Few fundamental design security principle. This is lot of things, and one by one, let us go. First, economy of mechanism. When you design a security systems, first things it comes into the design principle is economy of mechanism. So basically, the mechanism, be hardware, be software, be firmware, should be simple and as small as possible so that it will not create hurdle for all communications in terms of delaying response, in terms of delay delivery, in terms of delay processing, all these related. So if it is simple, it's easy to test and verify. Complex design obviously create weaknesses. Fail-safe default is another design principle which is very important. If you have to remember this, because you should have some option to come back to the default situations or label wise fail safe. Once fail, where it will save the other one. So you can read this because this is not big issue. You can read and understand the complete mediations, each one. So means every access must be checked against access control mechanism. This is a very important. Most of the softwares, they bypass this because they feel that every time the security will check, so it will consume certain amount of time, and the response time from the other side will take longer. So it should not bypass. All cases which are critical should go through access control mechanism, and design should be open, and so on. So in design should be open, only the keys should be secret. Why? Because standardized systems can be easily or check any wrong things happen. Separation of privilege and the least privilege, these are the two important things. Separation of privilege, you can say we are British mentality. If you look into this earlier British time, we will have, or we are following also, we have group D staff, group C, group A, group B, and these staffs, and every staff has separate roles, and they are not allowed some to do something. So their privileges are limited. Similar concept is that you divide your systems in such a way everyone remain in separate container. So container based OS is coming in picture. So every process should run in a container. So application will be their privilege. So you should not create any problem. And multi-factor authentication, if it's a high privilege, then number of authentication mechanism should increase. For example, if you net transactions now ATM, night time, SBI, you have card, you have PIN and OTP. So it basically is talking about more you privilege, more your authentication systems should be in place. And least privilege, every process user system operate using least privilege. If not required, you should not increase. So it's basically is talking about access control mechanism. Least common mechanism is another. You can read it because I don't want to continue this. It is very simple. Otherwise, time will running out. Least common mechanism is one options. Psychological acceptance. Isolation, already indirectly I have mentioned the container system OS instead of virtualization OS or monolithic OS. Container process containerization is very, very important, and it is now in place. Encapsulation is another important thing. Every message should be encapsulated in such a way. The encapsulation, there are two things you have to remember. The first party, second party informations remain. Message can be encrypted. And another way, you can make sure that the who is sending what message to whom, whole thing you want to encrypt it, conceal it, and fake first party, fake second party, you can mention the outside encapsulations. That is more acceptable. Today's scenario, if you look into the onion routing, or if you look into the special type of SIM services available given by Britain group, so you can in India, but you can call to anywhere in the world, and you can camouflage your location, and you can camouflage your ID, that is the phone number. So if you want to create a trouble for anyone, you can use that person mobile number, and that person's friend circle, you can create havoc so that the person will be indirectly get banned from friends and go to mental depression and something. So you want to create a havoc, it's possible. Similarly, if you want to enter into the systems where privilege is there, those privileges can be also possible. Have you heard about eSIM, electronic SIM? Electronic SIM is Now today's electronic SIM is today available. Most of the developer phone or phones, Google branding or similar branding, you can phone has more than one SIM. One is the physical SIM, another is the logical SIM. So you can download the SIM configuration from the service provider, that eSIM, and once that configuration is done, you can communicate using that eSIM or the new numbers, the second numbers. Jamtara attack, Jamtara group, you know, Jharkhand Jamtara group, they are attacking this eSIM related things. What they do, they communicate to the eSIM holder that I am from Airtel, assume that it's Airtel, I am from Airtel, your eSIM may not functions because of so and so, so and so. We are sending eSIM configuration again. Please download and install. And they will allow you to share. They will send one piece of configurations. And if you install in your eSIM, practically the man in the middle will happen. They will hijack your number and they will use the mobile number wherever you have used in mobile accounts like bank, Aadhaar card, any places. They will go to that. They will change your all OTP and other things. And finally, they will take control of all of your credential. So be remember, anything to be installed in your device, 200% sure that more than 200% sure that that will not damage or do anything wrong with you. What I wanted to say that encapsulation is good for protecting all communications, including the header part, first party and second party. Modularity is known, layering is another, and similarly other things. So what till now what we have learned? We have learned two important things. One is called privacy and secrecy, or secrecy and privacy, data confidentiality and privacy, which are very, very important. One more we learn, that denial of service. And one important thing, today's scenario, everywhere, every person's doing research, it's called triple A, and A. Authentication, authorization, access control. What I talked till now is basically emphasizing indirectly AAA. AAA is authentication, authorization, and access control. So main research is happening in privacy secrecy, and this AAA depends on domain, and also little bit encapsulations, the how to camouflage, that is traffic function and what is called traffic confidentiality, that point of view. And these are the very important things, and time to time I will talk about different kind of research aspects. So attack surface consists of reachable exploit vulnerability. There are several attacks available, you can check it. Attack surface category, if you look into it, network attack surface, software attack surface, human attack surface. Network attack surface refers to vulnerability over enterprise network, wide area network, in general, internet. Wherever such things will happen, what we talked about, attack surface consists of the reachable and exploitable vulnerability in the systems. Whatever loopholes and other things should be utilized, like open ports or outwards facing web, other services and port listening on those ports. What is in a server? Listen in a port, for example, HTTP server listen in port 80, and a piece of code is running. That is this code listening on those ports. Similarly, 443, which is HTTPS, a code listening in this. This code has some vulnerability. That is, and some ports, open ports are dangerous. That's why last class I mentioned clearly those ports you do not require, those ports you demons you do not require, don't run in your systems, don't keep it open. Only thing, services available inside a firewall. So basically another things, as I mentioned, we can do fake TCP like something. So UG did. Like this, there are several options, and we mentioned the software attack network case is this. Software attack surface refers to vulnerability application, utility, and operating system code. Software attack surface I mentioned is that how to mimic to the firewall. IIT Guwahati firewall is a Chinese firewall, Fortinet firewall, Chinese type. It tried to block A to Z, everything, but you have option to bypass it because there are certain open ports available. You have to identify those open ports, and open port, what is the purpose? You have to mimic those protocols which run supposed to run in that way, or you have to find this. Like I gave example, IIT Guwahati firewall allow TCP. So you install fake TCP to run UDP. Like this, you have to find some vulnerability, so look into it. Human case attacks is vulnerability created by personal or outsider is basically this. There are low risk, medium risk, high risk, all these things we should do. Now it is coming to another important thing, which is called attack tree. To attack a system or to attack one enterprise, we have to know all possible options. First, we have to know what is available. That is, exploiting or learning, exploiting different communication capabilities. Try to learn how many firewalls are there and where is the firewall, where is the router, where is the server, what kind of communication allowed. This is one side. Once that is there, try to build the whole systems, how to attack. So basic philosophy behind it, create an attack tree, a branch of hierarchy data structure that represents set of potential techniques for exploiting security vulnerability. This is very important one. Security incident, the goal of attack is represent root node of the tree. How attack is represent as root node of the tree. So that is the main point. And the way attacker can reach to the goal, the branches, subtree, and the final node, that leaf node, reaching that goal. Motivation of attack tree, if you look into this attack tree, bank account compromise, there are one option, user credential compromise, injection commands. Injection commands we'll see, use user credential guessing, security policy violations, use known authenticated session key attacker. These are the first level. If you go in, look into this, inside user surveillance, UTU. UTU is user, terminal, and user. So basically, to look into the user terminal and the user activity, that is specifically social engineering attack. If somehow put one camera or some mechanism to get idea about what user doing in terminal, what are the message it's typing, all these things. It is basically social engineering attack, and user terminal and user, this is user surveillance. From there you can get most of the things like ATM, it happens. Similarly, the theft, a token and handwritten notes. That is again social engineering attack. Use malicious software, install in user terminals, and with that you check emails with malicious code, send emails with malicious code, and that person can install there and you can get. Similarly, vulnerability exploit, hidden code, you put a piece of code hidden into the system so it can. So that's why I mentioned netstat minus A. If you look into the netstat minus A, and if you put it in all time, you will find if lot of communications happening and the port number is changing frequently, then you can assume some worm or trojan or virus is installed in your system. Otherwise, unknown port, unknown places, unknown IP, it should not communicate. It's supposed to communicate only few machines wherever you are connecting and few ports wherever you are connecting. And IP address change and everything will be stable and communication will be stable. Changes happen at a different rate or very slow rate. But if it is happening very quick, definitely some malicious or some keylogger or something is installed and communicating. So like this, there are lot of other options. This is injection of commands, is basically SQL injections kind of type of things. Cadential guessing is brute force attack. CC stands for communication channel. What is CC is reckoned? CC3, active man in the middle attack. So CC is basically communication channel. Look into this and do the cadential injection of comments. Similarly, IBS, internet banking server, some brute force, something can be done. So basically, this attack tree, if you have, you can do a lot of things. Now, model of network security is basically, remember, as I mentioned, there is a first party, there is a second party. You can have a trusted third party, and opponent is the attacker, the fourth party. The sender and the recipient, if they communicate each other, then they should encrypt using a secret information. It's called key, and secure message. It should send through the open channel, and message received using the secret key revert back the message. So every operation there is reverse operation or this, and message can be. This third party can help. This third party may available, may not available, but opponent can watch what is happening. The other access control is basically firewall or gatekeeper, allow or not. So unwanted access is another important things. I have only 2 more slides for this. So unwanted access, placement of a computer system of a logic and that exploit vulnerability in the system, that can affect application program as well as utility program such as editor or compiler. So programs can represent two kind of threats: the information access threat and the service threat. So basically it's talking about intercept, modify data on behalf of user who should not have the access to the data. Service threat, which is which is exploiting service flow and computer and inhibit use by the legitimate user. So basically, oh, no, it's okay. So we should not allow unwanted access. Now, few standards you have to remember. One is the NIST, what I have mentioned, US Federal Agency. They dictating in other terminology in terms of protocols, standards, and they are earning a lot of amount of money because they are doing like this. So patenting all these things. So NIST website everyone should visit, in which if you look into the FIPS, Federal Information Processing Standard, and special publications, these two are very, very important because some of the standard we'll discuss in this course based on FIPS SP. We have another type, it's called Internet Society. ISOC is Information Security Operations Center, though it is a Internet Security Operations Centers, it is a body. Look into this international internet security. You can be part of them. You can get a lot of information. ITUT, it is basically International Telecommunication Union. This is United Nations body, and ITUT, T is the telecommunication standard, and they have set of standard we have to follow in different context. ISO is another international organization of standard for standards. This also they have a lot of things we have to follow. So if we look into this introductory chapter, we look into the different aspects. We will start next class the little bit mathematics, and subsequently we'll do. So introductory overview of the whole systems completes today. If you have any questions, you can ask me. As I mentioned, every time you can put your questions in chat box. Chat box questions I can talk, or you can talk now. Today's class is over. If you have anything to ask, please ask.